Hey, thanks for stopping by Al Halman Art. Good friend was fearful of losing her custom ring and we couldn't find the jeweler as there was no hallmark in the ring except 10K. I decided to make a copy for her and I made this out of a rubber mold so this should never be an issue. Ethically, I would respect the original jeweler's creation and not sell or market this copy to others. So this was the original ring. It was a beautiful custom design out of 10 karat gold. To make a copy of this, I decided to use a rubber mold technique. I used the Castaldo rubber for this in a vulcanizer. I used the pink rubber as the base, and then I formed a outer covering of the gold rubber for this mold. The pink rubber gives you a much more accurate mold than the gold, the gold you can get up to 7% shrinkage. With a pink, if you measure the temperature correct, it's very minimal shrinkage. So a mold was made. So I made this sandwich mold with the gold on the outside and the pink rubber on the inside. I spent a lot of time working out the temperature of the pink mold so I got minimal shrinkage. Once the mold was vulcanized at approximately 310 degrees at 7.5 minutes per layer, I then cut open the mold and I got a very nice copy of her ring out of the vulcanized rubber that she could also use in the future. The next thing was to inject wax into the mold to get a wax copy. For this mold, I use a Caster's Choice injection wax that I bought from Rio Grande, which gives me great detail. Once this mold was cast and cooled and peeled out of the mold, you can see that the lost wax casting I got looked to be excellent. So my next steps, I cast this in bronze to see how close my mold was to the original, and I was very pleased. I got an excellent copy. So next I will take you through my casting process. So when I was originally taught to cast, I used a solid flask. The solid flask goes on a vacuum part of your casting machine, and you pull a vacuum before you cast the gold or silver. You can see that there's only a 1/2 inch hole at the bottom to pull a vacuum, and if your sprue is not perfect or you don't get a perfect vacuum, your cast is not very successful. So I switched to using a NewTek casting vessel. This vessel has holes in the side and actually slips down inside the casting machine so you get a much better vacuum. So once it's fit down inside the casting machine, you pull a vacuum and you get an excellent mold. You can see the vacuum chamber for the casting machine is quite large, and you can put a very large mold in here. For my casting machine, I can go up to 6 inches around. Also, when I switched to the NewTek system, they had a much better sprue system, which allowed better filling of the flask. These sprues you can customize. And they nicely attach to the rubber base. So I attach my lost wax casting to the sprue. When I weighed this casting for the gold, I only measured the weight of the pink and the red. Next, I put my sprued lost wax into the investing chamber. I covered the outside of the investing chamber with tape so that when I invested it, the plaster would not run out. I used a satin cast investment. I've had very good results with that. You need to follow the instructions carefully and weigh out the powder and measure your water accurately. During the steps of making this investment, there are several different vacuuming processes that you have to go through and then let this cure. First, you have to vacuum the investment as you're mixing it and the powder in the vacuum, and then you actually pull a vacuum once you've poured it into the flask. Once the flask is poured, I made some marks so that if you have several flasks in your kiln, you can keep track of what is being cast. So the next step is to get rid of the wax. I use a steam dewaxer. This removes a great deal of the wax and saves the life on my kiln. You throw this wax away as it floats on the water. Then the flask goes into the kiln. I use a tray in case there's any residual wax so it burns out, it doesn't get into my kiln. Next, the investment is held at a temperature that's based on how delicate your casting is. If it's very delicate, you have a higher casting temperature around 1,000 degrees, which for this casting, which had a lot of filigree in it, that's what I use. This burnout process takes about 12 to 14 hours. Typically I will put the flasks in a kiln the night before I cast, and then they come out in the morning when they're ready to cast. There's a chart that you can download at Hoover and Strong which actually lists the casting temperature of gold, which is different than the melting temperature. For the casting temperature of 14 karat yellow gold, I used 1800 degrees in my furnace, and I used a flask temperature of 1,000 degrees due to the complexity of the casting. I set my furnace at 1800 degrees. I placed the gold in with a small amount of casting flux. Once this was in the vessel, I closed the top and allowed it to reach casting temperature. The flask was then opened and stirred with a carbon rod, and the flask was then taken over to my casting machine, where I'd taken the vessel out of the kiln, placed into the casting machine, and I poured the gold into the casting machine after a vacuum had been pulled. So after the casting had cooled about 5 minutes, I placed it into a bucket of water, and the investment basically dissolved. This is a much larger casting I'd done in bronze, but it shows a similar process. Once this cools, you're left with your casting, and the investment material settles down to the bottom of the bucket. I let this sit for a couple of days. Whenever you're working around investment, be sure and wear a mask, as this stuff is toxic. Gold that came out was a beautiful ring. Once I sawed off the sprue, it was next finished with a magnetic pin finisher, as well as polishing discs. I use a gold vault system that I can save the polishing material. When you open the vacuum, there are disposable filters that you can send back to your gold supplier that can be recycled and remelted, and pay for your vacuum in a hurry. To get the best suction, I made a special pin that I attached a hose from the vacuum to. I keep a piece of my wife's hose over the end so nothing gets sucked up, and that way when I'm polishing I recover all the fine dust. And you can see how the hose attaches to the bottom of my bench pin and then pulls up all the polishing compound as well as residual gold as you're finishing the piece. In the end, there was a beautiful copy in 14 karat gold of a ring that made a friend very happy. So thanks for stopping by Al Halman Art. If you have an idea for another blog or another video, please drop me a line. Hopefully this will give you an idea how I do casting. Be careful when you're making a copy that you don't infringe on other people's copyrights, as that would not be acceptable in my book ethically. Again, thanks for stopping by, and if you hope to see you soon in the near future.